Well, hello, friends. Mark Holmes here, and as always, thank you guys for watching, commenting, and subscribing to the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, this literally does not work. Sorry, guys, it's been one of those days. I've had to deal with all kinds of crap. Literally, I had to fix the sewer pipe this morning and bring my mother in law back home. Driven already 150 some miles. I got 150 miles or so to go to get home, so I've been out of the loop. And while I was on the way down here, apparently Adam Schefter was breaking that the Zeke Elliott negotiations are going really well, and they hope to have it done by Monday. And hopefully this will be a linchpin that we'll see Dak get his deal done, and get Amari's deal done, so that way we don't have to worry about this. And also, too, we are now cut down to the 53-out roster. There's guys that they're hoping that they'll bring back. But here's how you definitely know that the Dallas Cowboys are close to getting the Zeke Elliott deal done, because literally we got two running backs on the roster. Two. Alfred Morris and Pollard. That's it. Period. End of story. They let Chun go, which I was kind of surprised. They let Mike Weber go, but Mike Weber, they said they questioned his football IQ, so he just was not cutting it, and he's gone. Not a lot of surprising cuts other than George Iloka. You thought, at least I thought when we brought him in, that this was a guy Chris Richard kind of handpicked, and you thought that maybe with that tutelage and everything else, the opportunity that he might be able to make some noise with the Dallas Cowboys. Now, Jeff Heath led the team in missed tackles, but he also is a guy that seems to make plays. And honestly, I believe that Jeff Heath's best ability would be actually splitting time so he doesn't get exposed. You could see Donovan Wilson, who had 3 interceptions. He's only rookie 6th-round draft pick, but he's been able to kind of look pretty good, and he ends up making a George Iloka who didn't do much, expendable. And also we have Kevon Frazier, who is a special team standout. So that's where you saw him go. Chris Covington, not Christian Covington, okay? Chris Covington, the linebacker, you thought that, he might end up being able to make some noise and stuff. But then you've got Joe Thomas, who's played lights out. So with Joe Thomas, Sean Lee, Leighton Vander Esch, and Jalen Smith, that were good at linebacker. Daniel Wise getting hurt. He got released today as well, which is kind of sad. But as we go through, let me go through the whole list here. Like I said, I've been on the road, so I haven't really been able to focus in on doing all this stuff. But I just wanted to touch bases with you before I head back up the road. And then probably by tomorrow or maybe later tonight, I'll really get a chance to go through this. But tackle Bushnell, Juwan Bushnell, he's gone. Jake Compass, Tyron Christian, Jordan Chun. Like I said, that was one that I thought that he might make the team. Although, here's the thing. Chung may be a guy they bring back on the practice squad. Don't be surprised if he's not picked up. Chris Covington, the linebacker, gone. Reggie Davis, gone. Jalen Guyton. Again, these are guys that nobody really knows. Mitch Hewitt. Darius Jackson. That's another one that I thought, Jackson, I thought he was going to be on the team for sure. But again, if you're going to get Zeke Elliott back, you're paring down your roster and figuring, okay, we got Zeke healthy, we got another batter rim and Alfred Morris, and we got Tony Pollard to change the pace back. We're good there. Mike Jackson, cornerback, that's kind of a surprise. Mike Jackson was cut. But again, that's a guy that I think they'll bring back. And what this tells you is that they feel good about where Byron Jones is right now, because they've only kept 5 cornerbacks. So they're feeling good that Byron Jones will be ready. So that's a good sign as well. Marcus Lucas, tight end, is gone. Donovan Umba, that's another one that, you know what, he won't be unemployed long. Somebody will pick him up because that guy can play. You saw him get the interception and stuff, pick 6 this past week. Justin Phillips, linebacker. Kyle Quindro, Casey Redfern, the punter, he's gone. He also makes the extra point. Drew Scott, Ricky Walters, Mike Weber. That's just in that football IQ. Cedric Wilson, which is one you kind of wanted to keep Cedric Wilson because he was kind of unique, but it's a numbers game. You can't keep everybody. Daniel Wise, I already talked about, and Ryan Urachek, the fullback. So that's where we are. Some of these guys, 10 of them will come back as practice squad guys. But what this tells you, I mean, you got Trayvon Austin, who's back. He's played pretty well in preseason, got a couple of catches, and he's a little bit dynamic. His problem has been, of course, with health, and that's why they say, okay, we're going to go with a little more experience than Cedric Wilson, who's had injury history and hasn't been able to get on the field. You look at the wide receiving group. You got guys with experience, and you got a group of studs. What you don't see in here a lot of is offensive linemen, and I think that's where they're concerned with Zach Martin's back, as well as Tyron Smith, and of course Travis Frederick getting back over the stuff. So, Xavier Salafalo, he's still here. Joe Looney, who's backing up the center as well as guard. And with the governor, Connor McGovern, having problems with the pec, you're definitely saying we want to make sure we've got a great offensive line. So I'm happy with what we've done in here. There aren't any major surprises. I thought there's a possibility that the Cowboys could look at Tyrone Crawford because you get some extra money. I didn't recommend. Don't get mad at me, Tyrone, because I know you got a couple of Joe Boo T-shirts and everything else, but in the end, this whole thing is a business. It's not about being personal or anything like that. It is a business, and you have to say, if I'm going to sign these guys, I can't keep these guys. And so you look at age, contract, and replacements when you make these decisions. And this team is a young team. This is a team that you want to look at and say, okay, we've got about a 3-year window with this core group of guys, and we want to be trying to challenge the next 3 years or so for a Super Bowl. And here's the thing, where a lot of people are saying that, screw paying Zeke, screw paying Dak, we're going to be in cap hell. But I want you to understand, here's the thing that the Dallas Cowboys don't get enough credit for. The Dallas Cowboys, although they have not been winning Super Bowls, they have been able to find talent where nobody else has in the draft and picking up these no-name free agents and basically turning them into studs. When you get a guy like an Antoine Woods or even David Irving, although it was a short window, who was a practice squad guy, and you make him a guy that's getting 6-7 sacks, you're ahead of the curve. Because when you think about Clowney getting traded, I don't know what the trade went for to Seattle, but you think about him being a number 1 pick and being traded to Seattle, how much money he's making or going to make, okay? What they had to give up to get him, he's never had double-digit sacks. So when you start finding guys in the draft, here's the key. Those first 4 years, or 5 years if they end up being a higher round pick where you've got a option year, you're not paying jack. Seriously. You look right now for this year what Van Der Esch is getting paid. It ain't much. And when you look at your rookie draft class that you draft, it's basically the cost of a middle-of-the-road free agent for the whole class. And see, the Dallas Cowboys have been great at finding that talent in the draft, replacing. So it's okay if you pay a couple of guys a lot of money, as long as you can continue to replenish the flesh with young talent in the draft that's not getting paid. They are cheap until that contract comes up. So when you look at this contract with Zeke, and it'll probably be something kind of like DeMarcus Lawrence, where there's an out in a few years. Where it puts incentives on it for Zeke that, you meet this, you're going to get buku money. You're the highest paid, but if you tail off, we can take care of letting you go without much pain, which is the new way that the Cowboys are doing these contracts. They got screwed by a lot of big contracts in the past, and they are not repeating that mistake. Now, if you're the rest of the NFL right now, if they get Zeke back in happy and whole, you take a look at where we are right now for the most part, we're healthy. You got Tyron Smith, Zach Martin will be back at practice this week. You got Amari Cooper back at practice. You got Zeke Elliott. You haven't had any major injuries that have destroyed you. Now, I know Robert Quinn has a messed up hand, and he's suspended for 2 games, but that's it. You got DeMarcus Lawrence back. You got Tyrone Crawford, who's been back. You got Byron Jones. And the NFL needs to be put on notice that the Dallas Cowboys, in my mind, and I could be just a homer, I may be wrong. You know, I know they say that the Eagles are so deep and stuff, but I tell you what, I will take this team and the talent they have against anybody. And so, I can't wait till next Sunday to start this season. Well, I got to get ready to get up the road because, well, I stays busy. I'm Mark Holmes, and I'll see you guys when I get back. I keep getting photobombed.